Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? I think one of the biggest advantages to being a small operation or a single person operation is that you can kind of turn on a dime and make adjustments in real time as you see things are working or not working or if things are changing. And that doesn't necessarily happen in a larger business. And sometimes, I can get very frustrated in my current job or in other jobs I've been in when I've seen things that were blatantly obvious and got a lot of pushback from the organization as a whole, bringing these ideas up. And, there's a whole bunch of reasons for that, and maybe I don't see the big picture, but there's a couple examples lately that really, make me laugh a little bit. And the first one was being sat down with one of the, sales managers, and I'm not a salesperson, but, we do go into various organizations where we're supposed to be adjunctive or helpful to the salespeople. And one of the things I brought up, they constantly are telling us you have to listen to the customers, listen to what they're telling you. And, I brought up, well, they're screaming at us right now. One of the things they're screaming is that we aren't matching prices or exceeding, giving better deals than some of the competition. And, there is a pushback, from management saying, well, there's a reason for this, and it's because we offer all these extra services and what have you. But at this point, the customers are kind of screaming at us in many cases. Well, that's not important. What's important is these are lean times. We need to get better prices. And what's even different is that, what's changed, is that since COVID especially, people got very used to going online and price shopping and can do it in real time. And so it's not just a consumer like you or I, but it's the person in charge of acquisition and procurement at a large company. They can do the very same thing. And so it's no longer the situation where they have to call various people and have quotes given to them and back and forth. They can, in very real time, go to the various sites of their suppliers. If they have a deal with a supplier, the site will update their price as opposed to my price or your price. And they can price shop in real time right there. And the pushback that I got back from, sales management was, the people are, they're not being loyal customers. Really? And that they should understand the value. They should? Really? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you listening to what they're saying? Things like that really make me laugh because the organization is so big and there are so many people worrying about their commissions and worrying about making this other person happy and these other line items, and they're ignoring, the actual, well, this is where we're actually doing business. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't understand the whole thing. Another thing that really made me laugh very, very recently was we have a very large database of thousands of products that we actually can get for people. And of course, a lot of them are from third-party manufacturers. And what inevitably happens every once in a while, there are items that are entered twice or three times by accident. So we have 3 or 4 different part numbers for them. So there were items that I had to ship back from a customer, and I got back from the office, well, this appears to be a different product. And I said, are you sure these aren't the same thing? No, they're not the same thing. They shipped them back. I called the manufacturer. They said, yeah, that's the same thing. Just has 2 different part numbers depending upon, how much information the customer wants. So I talked to my skip manager, I guess, and, email him and get him involved in the whole conversation a little bit. And I said, so when are we going to get AI to kind of scour our database? And the response I got back was, well, seeing as it's so far in the future, AI really isn't on the radar. In the future? It's now. It's now, pal. You use it, I don't care what your opinion of AI is. It's here. And, either you're going to use it or you're going to be beaten up by your competitor that decides to use it, because it's a very sad thing. But the AI can probably do most of the job, not all of it, of a lot of the some of the office personnel in terms of processing the orders, making sure they're okay, cross-referencing things, and can do it without making as many mistakes and do it a lot faster and do it a lot cheaper. And, I fully expect that the job I do, that in 5 or 10 years, there's going to be a little robot that walks around like those MIT robots that you can't knock over anymore, and they're going to put all the stuff away and do all the things that I do. It's kind of the way things are. And it's you have to look ahead and say, okay, well, what can I do now? So yeah, it's kind of just a little bit of a rant, but you're in a great position if you are a single person operation or a small operation, because you're not so bogged down by layers and layers of people and being myopic. And this is the way we've always done it. And the various procedures and policies and everything that quickly become outdated and don't make sense. And I don't know if you noticed, but the world is changing rapidly. Those two things I brought up that I probably took too much time talking about, in terms of being able to price shop in real time, and also being able to use things like AI to handle a lot of processes much faster and probably much more reliably. These are things that you either have to latch onto and realize this is what's happening and use it, or kind of be blown out of the water by the other people that realize, well, this is how it's going. You know what I mean? Anyhow, you're not replaceable. I'm not replaceable. We just may have to change what we're doing.